This video has been hard for me to do, and I'm going to continuously and dig deeper when I'm in the best mental space. Some things I want you to know that it's okay to not be okay. It is not okay to think people could read your mind. It's not okay if you say that you're okay and you're really not, and then people don't follow up with you. It's not okay for you to allow people to be at your highs and not at your lows. And that is a pet peeve I've had as a friend. You do not have to go through your dark times, your low times. You don't have to go through it alone. Welcome to Your Success Stories. I am your girl, Nika Johnson. I'm a credit coach and budgeting expert, and today we're going to have the uncomfortable conversation surrounding our mental health and how it impacts us financially in other ways that's oftentimes unspoken. I debated if I should do this video or not, if it was be insensitive, it was inappropriate. And the biggest thing is that I hope that this will be therapeutic for me and to help save a life or give someone guidance that one day if they are in my shoes. I recently just had the loss of two dear friends, and we don't talk about how grief impacts us. And when I start to think about it, it's so many questions of my purpose and why I do what I do is about having the uncomfortable conversations surrounding money. People want to look like they got money, but they don't want to have it. We always can plan a birthday. We can plan our life, but we don't plan our death. And we think that all this time, and that time is promised to us, but it's really not. And it doesn't hit home until it's close to you. And when you're experiencing or someone close to you experience the loss of someone, to realize that we often say that life is too short. But are we living by those words? Are we living by that phrase that life is too short? We can take that in so many different ways of don't sweat the small stuff. Let things go. Don't escalate. De-escalate certain situations. You're not a pussy. That doesn't make you less than a man or a woman for walking away from a situation. If anything, it makes you stronger. And knowing who are your tenacity at the core, your resilience, and knowing everything does not warrant a response. I say this to say that when we're talking about all these financial baggage, it impacts us mentally, right? Why people do a why? Why they often hit a lick? Why are they always in survival mode is that they can't even think about tomorrow or the future brings because they're focusing on right now. How can I pay these bills? How can I survive? When people are stealing from the grocery store, those things are not funny. That tells me that there's someone that is in need, and what the hell did society do for them to be able to come to those certain choices? It's not a thing of judgment or anything, because it could be any one of us. Some people are literally one check away from homeless. Some people are so dependent on credit cards that they can't even survive. Some people are one thought away from filing bankruptcy or losing your job and don't know when your next check is going to come. So I say this to say that a lot of things that people are going through, it impacts us mentally. And when you can't think straight, it's going to impact you financially. It is. You know, I have always been an advocate about mental health since I began my journey of therapy back in 2017, I think. It's been a few years since I've been on this healing journey. And I had to unlearn and relearn and realize a couple things, that it's okay to not be okay. No longer suffer in silence. It's okay to say no and it be a complete answer. It's okay to set boundaries, and you're not wrong for taking care of yourself, and it's not selfish. So many people are going through so many different things and fighting so many silent battles. They don't know if they're coming or going. Be kind, because if it was you on the other foot, you will want someone to be there. I learned how to be a better friend. I learned how to step up for people the way that I would want someone to step up for me if I lost a loved one. I learned to not be insensitive of when you find out someone passed away. The first thing you should not do is run to social media and post a heartfelt message. Do you know how much that hurts to be someone to find out that your loved one passed away through social media? You deserve more, and others deserve more. And I've experienced that finding out about a death through social media, right? And it just does not feel good. You don't have to be the first person, and you don't have to be stingy when you lose someone as if they only had a relationship with you. It's because if they were so loved in the way that you love them, you should know that the world loved them too, and that we have to share them. We have to embrace them. We have to uplift their memories. And another thing, take pictures. Take pictures. You never know when it will be someone last time. I was compelled to be able to record this video of experiencing a traumatic loss. And I really felt like this year was the most mental stressful year of my life. And it was like blow after blow. And then it goes up and I just be like, okay, I'm happy. And then something else happened. I'd be like, Lord, why are you punishing me? Why you hurt me like this? Like, I don't know if I can take too much. What are you teaching me? What are you learning? And I realized that he is stretching me. So in this season, if you're going through something, you are being stretched, okay? And it may not make sense, but one day it will. It is preparing you for something. And I am learning to give myself grace when it comes to healing and coping, and grief looks different for everybody. One minute you're okay, next minute you're not. I know, for example, I'll get pictures and videos and memories pop up on my phone because iPhones do that, or if someone texts me or remember on Facebook, whatever it is. And what happens is I get triggered. I break down crying. But let's say I had a meeting. We're gonna let it out, and then we're gonna get back into it, and we're gonna mask it. I want us to quit masking our pain. It doesn't help us mentally, and the damn show ain't gonna help us financially. Sometimes we gotta sit in that. Sometimes we gotta feel it and can't necessarily avoid it. I know for me, one of my biggest coping mechanisms is work. I work, no matter what. Sometimes because I don't want to feel what I'm going through. It allows me to numb it. When I do that, my therapist taught me is that one day it's gonna explode. And those one days have happened a couple times. I know my channel's about money. I know my channel's about financial literacy. But I wish people would know and understand why financial literacy is important. Because when we have experienced so much trauma and it's not talked about, we have to heal and process it. Sometimes people are not going to therapy because of the costs that's associated with it. They can't afford it. You can't afford not to afford therapy. You can afford a phone, them clothes, a birthday present. You can afford all these things. It won't blink of an eye. You could afford to get your hair done, your nails done, to take a trip. But when it's the things that matters most, we can't afford it. It's always how much is this going to cost instead of how can we benefit for this? How is this going to continuously bring me value? What can I learn from this experience? I can't afford not to invest into this. It's because sometimes if you are not facing your battles, you go keep bumping your head. Roadblock after roadblock, trauma after trauma. And also financially, to where we don't feel that we have to miss the enrollments of your employer to get benefits. And some people are not electing to have health insurance, life insurance, simply because they need every dollar that they make and not having enough money to be able to cover those costs. Does that make sense? We don't talk about how the stages of grief impacts you. How sometimes when you lose someone sudden, or even if you know, how you cannot begin to properly grieve when you're handling about financial situations. I hope I'm not out of line with this video, but there is a couple different things of tips and resources I want to leave you at. And I know I'm supposed to say like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. I want to teach you that's listening, different components that impacts you financially, that sometimes we don't think about it, and how we have to be prepared for those hard questions. Grief is hard. Sometimes they play tricks on you of what could you have done different to make things better. Sometimes you place the blame game. Sometimes you have nightmares. And sometimes you find yourself sinking back into a depression that you fought so hard to not go back into, a dark hole in a dark space. And if anybody understands, I do. So here are some tips on how to deal with grief and how to navigate it, beginning with your finances. 1, Communicate with your friends and your family, your loved ones. What does that look like for you when you pass? What type of funeral you want? Tell people your favorite colors. What color do you want? How do you want to be honored? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want your legacy to continuously to live on? Talk about those things. And sometimes it will be helpful of emailing yourself of a friend or a family and putting the subject line so you can always have that. Not only do you need a will, that's the basic of it, but make for sure that you have a trust. You know, as strange as it sounds, I have always admired and wanted to plan my funeral because I want to be able to make for sure that my family, when it's my time to go, that they can be at peace. But I was able to take some things off their plate of being detailed of from the music selection I want to the location, to the food, because food matters. Look, I need them to dress to impress, baby, because I know how to put that on. I challenge you to have these conversations no matter how difficult they are. Another thing is communicate about if you have life insurance policies. Maintain copy. Update that information at least once annually. At the bare minimum, update that. When there's life changes, if you bought a house, if you bought a car, acquired more debt, if your family grew, make for sure it's reflective in your policies and have that information accessible. If you don't know that information, how the heck do you think your friends or family is going to know it? Another tip is to share your location with the loved one. Share your location to make for sure if you're safe. If they have to look for you, they know where to go. Communicate with someone, but safety is key. When you're doing a solo vacation, share your itinerary. Sometimes if you're by yourself, tell them someone else is coming with you. Tell them 2 people instead of just 1. Because sometimes it could be the people that's at the hotels and the resorts. And I'm not trying to make anything scary, but just to enlighten you, to protect a life. Another thing is take pictures. We don't take pictures sometimes. I'm not gonna say we. Sometimes people don't ever want to take pictures because they don't like the camera. But you don't want an old photo from when you was a baby on your obituary. Think about it. What do you want them to use in the news if you gotta be in the news or publicized or whatever the case may be? If there's a press release, what does that look like? Take pictures and make for sure they get your good side. Another thing is being mindful of when you hear about a loss, give the family time. 24 hours, 48 hours, 72. I don't know the amount of time that's appropriate, but don't be so quick to rush on social media to say RIP. I know when I lost my brother and we was at the hospital, I'm scrolling on social media and people saying RIP, and I'm like, what the hell they talking about when they in the back, they doing surgery, like they fight for his life. Like that shouldn't be the first thing. This video has been hard for me to do, and I'm going to continuously and dig deeper when I'm in the best mental space. Some things I want you to know that it's okay to not be okay. Tell people that you don't want to be alone, or tell people when you need space. It is not okay to think people could read your mind. It's not okay if you say that you're okay and you're really not, and then people don't follow up with you. It's not okay for you to allow people to be at your highs and not at your lows. And that is a pet peeve I've had as a friend. You do not have to go through your dark times, your low times. You don't have to go through it alone. Because one thing about me, my friends are my chosen family. I don't want to just celebrate the good of your birthday, your anniversary, a promotion, starting a business, a baby, an engagement. I want to celebrate all and allow your friends and families to celebrate all with you as well. If I could ask, please share some wisdom that we collectively as a community, even myself, can learn from the stages of grief. Comment down below, okay? I want y'all to get your mental together. We ain't no good financially. Sometimes people can't pay their bills on time because they simply forgot. Not because they didn't have the money. It's because it has been traumatic event after traumatic. They have been sick. They have been depressed. They going through a separation, going through divorce. They done lost a death. Whatever it is. Sometimes people just need grace. And I am here to tell you, give it. Because one day you may need it as well. Grief has a funny way of showing you things. And in this moment, I'm not okay, but I will be okay. But please share with me some things that we can be able to learn through the stages of grief to help people. Take a look on the screen so you can see some additional resources of things to be able to implement during those stages of grief or when you experience grief. Learn how to be there for others as the way that you want others there for you. Before we get out of here, I wanted to share 2 hotlines. One is suicide prevention. If you're having these thoughts, please call this number. If you are a victim of domestic violence, please call this number. My heart and prayers is to those that have experienced the loss of someone and still trying to learn and how to navigate life without them. Get help. You need it. It's time to quit avoiding it. You're not okay, and you've been masking for too long and hiding behind that smile. It's time to dig deep and to heal. Take that Band-Aid off that wound so you can get the help that you deserve. I am Nika Johnson with Budget to Success, and your mental health is in the budget.